I do triumph all the time, and I do a complete strip out on it. I don't do the method that he had in Stars of Magic. I do the Charlie Miller style, total strip out, and I don't elucidate on the premise. Have four aces reverse or something. I don't. I just make the card do like he did it. And my wife used to get after him to do the trick for her. And she'd say, "Dave, do triumph for me." And the reason she did that is one day I came home early from work and she was sitting in the living room reading Stars of Magic, which was not, she's not a magician's camp follower kind of a gal. She doesn't care much about it. And here she was reading it, and when I said, "What are you reading?" she says, "This trick is genius. Triumph." It's just that there's an element of genius about that. So I said, "Well, the next time we see Day, ask him to do it." So she asked him to do it. He kept turning her down. One day, he was in our apartment in Chicago, and he finally did it for her, and he botched it. Got a whole bunch of cards upside down. The other funny story about it is I went to a magician's IBM convention in Buffalo, New York in the late 50s. And Charlie and I went. And Margie decided she would get up in the morning and go to Niagara Falls or something, some of those things, where I was just going to go down to the mezzanine floor of the hotel where the convention was and hang out with the guys, And so this one morning she got up and went down to the drugstore on the main. Most hotels over the years had a drugstore on the main floor and you could get a cup of coffee. So she's sitting at the end of the coffee counter where it turns like this, having coffee, and two guys that are attending the convention, a couple of New York guys, sit down next to her. And they're figuring she must work at the phone company or something, some local gal. And one of them says, "Honey, we're here for the magician's convention," and they're giving her this big spread, And he says, "Would you like to see a card trick?" And she says, "Yeah, go ahead." And this guy tries to do triumph on the marble top of the, and you have to really be tough to do it there. And of course he botched it up, and when he did, she said, "I'm going to tell Dai Vernon that you messed that whole trick up." And the guy goes, "What?" They figure she just a local girl, And she says, "I'm going to tell Dai Vernon you messed up his trick."